Hey, you been working on that jump shot?
You know it.
You gonna win that game today?
Yes, sir.
All right. You know I'll be there supporting you, right?
You're gonna lose.
Say that to your brother.
Thanks for breakfast, Mom.
Yeah, Mom. Thanks for breakfast. Bacon and eggs again. Look, if you even think about leaving me, come on, y'all, let's go.
Thanks for breakfast, Mom. You're welcome, baby. Oh, really, Mom? Thanks.
He wants to fill the void you are longing to fill. Know that He loves you, and your heart He wants to heal. Doesn't matter the situation or circumstances you're in, just open your heart and let Him in. Oh, let go. Let go and be healed. As He whispers in your ear, hold on and be still. You are strong, you're an overcomer, you're not alone. Receive the Father's love. He wants to take you by the hand. Just trust in Him. He'll be your comfort and strength, the one on which you stand. There's not a thing He cannot do. The greatest love He has for you. Just open your heart and let Him in. Oh yeah, you are strong. You're an overcomer. You're not alone. Receive the Father's love. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. The chains will hold you bound no longer. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. The chains will hold you bound no longer. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. The chains will hold you bound no longer. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. The chains will hold you bound no longer. You are strong. You're an overcomer.
Hello, 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 hello.
Hi.
How are you, ma'am?
Okay. I'm a little bit, I
Look,
wasn't nervous until now, until about 10 minutes ago. Then I started getting,
I know it's okay. I'm nervous every time I go on this live too. But you know what? It's just us, we're creating dialogue. We're just chatting. And I made my coffee all for you. Did you make you some coffee?
I didn't because my dog is barking. I was worried about that. And
Oh
I'm
my
not
God.
tech savvy, blah, blah, blah.
So you just left me hanging. I made this for you.
I wish I would have made me some now.
Look, you can make you some while we're talking. It's all good. Cut your volume up a little bit.
Okay. Let's see.
There you go.
Better?
Yes, I can hear you. Man, I know we've talked throughout the years, but I haven't seen you in so long. And it is so good to see you, Nana. Like, seriously. Oh my gosh. And I don't want to get myself all emotional, but oh my word. Thank you for taking time out to share your story.
Well, thank you for letting me share it.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Dude, this is amazing. I seen that Valerie was on here, Erica, Kathy Givens. She's no longer Kathy McGivens. She's Kathy Givens now. So you got some peeps tuned in who know you and who love you. And I seriously just want to say thank you. And I'm not going to keep you long because I know that you have things going on, but I definitely wanted you to share your story. And the whole What's Your Story is all about just inspiring people, encouraging folks, giving hope to people, because we already have so much going on in the world. And I have these Let's Talk Racism on Thursdays, and I wanted to do something else a little bit different because Let's Talk Racism can be very exhausting. Mm-hmm. So anyhow, thank you so much. I'm just going to drink my coffee since you don't have yours, Okay. Oh my gosh, we talked about this. I can't believe it.
I think if I would have had coffee, I would have been so more nervous because it gets me all hyper.
Oh my goodness. So many memories as a teen, Nana. People know you as Sylvia. Y'all, I know her as Nana. So let me just put that out there. So if y'all don't hear me calling her Sylvia, it's because I don't call her Sylvia. I call her Nana, and she is still Nana. I think, was it 15 or 16? Because I can't remember now that you were in my life. You came in my life at 15 or 16. Mm-hmm. I don't remember. It was one of those years. Yeah. And not only were you a youth pastor, but you're also my son's godmom. Yeah. And you still is my son's godmom, and he's 22 years old. But Nana, your story is so inspiring. From addiction to losing Aaron to divorce, all while being in ministry. And mm-hmm. I know that there are people going through, whether it's one of those things or whether it's all of those things. I know there's somebody going through they may not be on here now, but they'll come back and look at this. But I know that your story will inspire somebody. I don't care if it's just one person.
What's most important to me, though, that a mother or a wife or a pastor's wife or somebody that's just going through a hard time would get something out of this. That's the key. That's the most important thing to me.
Yeah. Well, so if you don't mind, and I remember I kept asking you, are you sure? Are you sure? You're like, stop asking me that. Because I was nervous. I wasn't sure you really wanted to share the story, but I know that I wanted you to share your story. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So let me put this down. And I didn't want to, I made sure, I always take notes when I have to do stuff because I don't want to forget anything, and I don't want to forget a question that I may want to ask you. But I will say, let's just go down memory lane a little bit, just to little icebreaker, I don't want to dive straight into, this is it. But let's go down memory lane to when you and I met. And not all the way, just briefly talking about, I think I had already had Nigel, or Nigel was 3 months when I met you. Nigel was 3 months when I met you, and you held him. And I remember you asked if you can hold him. And then out the blue, I just asked if you and Pops can be his godparents. And from then on, you guys.
I was sold.
Because you love kids, you love babies, and having Aaron. And so Aaron he was like my little brother. We all know that. Oh, Jesus. I even remember when I was caught smoking weed on the church property and the cops came. Remember, we were all on the bus and we got caught smoking weed?
Yes.
We got caught smoking weed and the cops came and you were begging the cops to not take me down.
I vaguely remember that. Vaguely.
You were like, please, she's only 16 years old. She has a baby. And you were like really begging. I was high as a kite though. But anywho, let's talk about your addiction. Let's talk about your addiction because we know that the addiction part started way before ministry, right?
Yeah.
How were you even introduced to drugs?
My son's father had introduced me to drugs, and I didn't know my real father, and he was an alcoholic. And so my parents didn't live like that. When I was growing up, I very seldom saw them drink. We used to have house parties, and they used to play dominoes. And I just remember having a good childhood. And so I always wondered why did I always have the desire to live like that, like to go beyond the measures, like take it a next step. And I remember I got drunk the first time at 12 or 13, and then it just escalated from there. The desire to drink. And that's where it started. And then I met Aaron's father. He used to be actually the boy down the street. And it just went from there. And then I ran away to be with him. And we had Aaron. Looking back on it now, that was probably the one thing that we did right, was to have him. And that was such a bad cycle. We were in a 2-year custody battle over that child. And in the end, he ended up changing his life. I changed my life. I got led to the Lord on accident in the truck going to Lakewood. And, the main thing that I want people to know is that I really know now that that getting born again is important. Having a relationship is important with God. But I think the church ended up hurting my walk with God by telling me, and it's just because of not knowing, but if God healed you from your addiction, why do you still have to go to NA? Or why do you still have to go to AA? If God's already healed you, then you're healed. You're not, why do you have to stand up and say, I'm an addict, I'm an alcoholic? So I believe that. But now when I look back, I see where I got disconnected, because it's kind of like this. You have cancer. You get healed of cancer through chemo and through prayer and through God, first and foremost. But you still go and get your checkups. You still go and make sure you get your screening, and you make sure that, yes, God healed me, but I got to make sure I don't get it again, because everybody knows that getting chemo and radiation makes you susceptible to get it again. Everybody knows that. Christian people know that. Godly people know that. And so you keep going through your screening. And I've heard so many people say, yeah, I'm in remission. I'm healed of cancer, but I still go get my screening. So I didn't go back to make sure that, to continue to grow. So what that did for me was, even though I was walking with God, was living a life of ministry, I continued to live like an addict, flying by the seat of my pants. I was never prepared for anything. I was doing things at the last minute. I was working like a workaholic because I had just transferred my old life to my new life. And so I made myself so busy. And now I know I had no balance. And I know that people in my life could see that, but I didn't see it. I had no balance. I know I was doing all these great things for God, but I don't think that there was balance. So I kind of said I wasn't going to go there, but I'm just going to say a couple things. I think my stepkids knew that, and I think my family could see that, but I didn't see it. And so now, somehow I laid on the couch for 6 years after Aaron died. After my dad died is when it really happened. And I know a lot of people don't know this, but I went to treatment the day before Aaron died, and when he got home, when I got home from the hospital, and me and Aaron got to really talk about it, and he told me he wasn't worried about me because I had beat my addiction before, and he had total faith in God that I was going to beat it again. So when I got home from the hospital, I sat on his lap. We both said, "I love you." And that was the last time I saw him. So when losing my dad 2 years before that, I got to say goodbye to my dad, but I didn't get to say goodbye to Aaron. So that was a real tragedy for me. And I got clean for like 3 months, and then I went back out, and it was so bad. And when God says, when you give something up and you go back, it's like returning to vomit. It really is like returning to vomit. It really is. And you do bring back 7 spirits stronger with you. You do bring, I live that, and I can see it so clear now. And it's so clear to me that addiction is a family disease. It involves everybody, and it's a family and friends. Everybody was in it with me, like fixing Nana. Everybody's got to fix Nana, and I continue to just take advantage of that to the extreme and to the next level. I can, once I was able to be accountable, and what made me be accountable was I got remarried on strictly the rebound. We got divorced. And when we got remarried, he said to me, "Sylvia, I'm not your ex-husband. I'm not your mom. I'm not going to make sure you're at a meeting. I'm not going to make sure you're not drinking. I'm not going to make sure you're not doing drugs. But if it affects our marriage, then you've got to go." So he said, and I didn't want to lose that. I didn't want to lose him. So him allowing me or asking me to be accountable is what saved my life, because I didn't have to have somebody make me be accountable. It was somebody that says, "I'm going to be here for you, and I'm going to ask you what you're doing if I find out you're lying on accident," because he knew God loved him, and he knew his faith and his strength. When we got back together, we both, he gets up an hour early to read his Bible every single day. And then he ministers to me later, sometimes just at lunch. When I'm at work and he's at work, he'll call me, he'll tell me what he learned. And that has been the best gift that anybody could give me. So I don't think anybody knew how to give me that. I don't know how he knew to give me that. I'm feeling like it was all everybody praying for me, because when I got divorced while in ministry, everybody looked at me like, "Oh my God, her life is over. It's done."
Let me ask you this, Nana. Before we go into that part, let me ask you this: do you still attend AA meetings?
I do attend meetings, but they're all online. I have a connection with I don't want to say, because people might laugh and think it's ridiculous, but there's a program that I watch, and I watch it a lot, and I tape it, and I watch it sometimes in the middle of the night. And it's somebody that has their own show on TV and talks a lot about addiction and gives a lot of stories about it. And that was, I actually wrote him. I sent him my journal. And I used to hear back a couple of times from somebody on his cast, somebody that works in his office. And that's just been something that I can't go to meetings because of the COVID now, and people not having meetings. So I do everything online, and I just want to be safe, because my in-laws are in their 90s and my mom's in her mid 70s, and I just have to we have to protect each other. That's what it's about. So for me,
So what are some things that you do to maintain just your walk with Christ throughout the day? So what are some daily things that you do?
the
Um,
number one key, Mimi, is don't get boredom mixed up with serenity. Sometimes
mm,
you think you don't have anything to do and you go, I'm bored. And when you're bored, that's when slimy thoughts can get into place, and um, just things you shouldn't be. I can think of when I wasn't a good mother. I can, that used to happen to me often when I wasn't a good wife, when I wasn't a good grandmother, when I wasn't a good mother-in-law, when I wasn't a good anything. But now, when those thoughts come, I cast them out. They're gone. And I mean, I have got on my knees. I was in the lowest of the low. That's the best place you can be, because that's where repentance comes. And
mhm.
what I've learned is that what's important to me is important to my Savior. And I remember one time my mom and I were having this serious discussion that I had a misunderstanding with somebody in my family. And my mom goes, "You don't give a darn about anything." And I said, "No, I do. But I don't let anything take too much time in my brain, because to me, the worst thing that could happen has already happened. So not a lot rocks my world. It just
Mm.
doesn't. My husband and I spend most of our time giggling, laughing. Uh, I mean, our time together is so valuable. I go to work when I leave work, and my job was kind of like being in ministry because I was in senior and healthcare. So that was taking up 14 hours of my day. So one day he told me, "You know what? I want you to just leave that job." Because I was working for some Christians that own their own senior care and had memory care and assisted living. And he said, "I want you to leave that job, and I want you to stop thinking about making the money that you're making, because my commission and my bonuses were really nice financially." And so I did. I'm making not even half of what I used to make. But guess what? I have a 4-day weekend: Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. The new job I work for gave me Friday off for my birthday and paid me. I'd only been there not even 2 weeks. And
Mhm.
I money is not everything. It isn't. And in my past life, I made really good money. Um,
Yeah.
and when I got divorced and got back on track, or somewhat on track, or thought I was on track, and started making this kind of money that I was making, it was my husband taught me how to save. We are the biggest savers. We save as much as we can, and we know how to um, just relax and spend money when we want to, and not worry about it. But we're big savers, and I just felt like I've learned how to be a good steward of my money. I've learned balance. I I have to be here for my family and our parents, and so I just feel like knowing those things have brought so much value. They just brought a lot of value to my life. Um,
Man, let me ask you. Let's go to Aaron for just a little bit.
mhm.
Are some days easier than others when talking about Aaron, or is it still just difficult?
It's still hard, but not the same kind of hard. Once I remarried and um, started a hobby and started caring about myself. So my thoughts are different. What I thought, or what I believed, was losing my only child in a fatal car accident gave me the right to do whatever I wanted to do, whenever I wanted to do it, and how I wanted to do it. So
Yeah.
now, somebody told me one time, and I hope that they're watching this. When I was married before, sat beside me one day in my bedside when I was high as a kite, and said, "What if you died and you went to heaven, and God said, 'I want you to meet your son,' and you said, 'But I didn't have any kids. If I didn't have any, would you have rather had Aaron and lost him, or not had him at all?'" That came back to me when I started my new life. Um, now. And my husband Omero did something so that nobody's ever done for me. He said, I went to Aaron's gravesite, and I said, what would make you do that? And he said, I told Aaron I was going to take good care of his mother. And nobody's ever done that for me. And like, he tells me, do you want to go to the gravesite? Let's go. And he goes, it's his birthday, you're going. And I've never had that. And so I think now, well, I believe now I can see, if I don't want to do something, I don't do it. If it's too much for me, I don't do it. If it's interfering with my time with my mom or my in-laws or my my husband or my little dogs that are so valuable to me now, and I don't want to be a sober and still living like an addict, working like a dog. Yeah. And not have any balance and being frustrated every time I had to go do ministry because we're not prepared and we're running around and we're trying to get things right. And just, that's how I felt. I don't know how everybody else around me felt. I can't speak for everybody else or what everybody saw in me. I just know now. Yeah. Were you angry at other people and at God when Aaron passed and at yourself? I was angry, but I didn't know at who. I didn't know who to be. I didn't know who I was angry at. And I think Erica's watching, so I want to tell her something. One time she told me, I didn't want to see you anymore because I got tired of looking at those dead eyes. Your eyes were dead. And I think about that. And I think about the end of my day. My eyes are not dead anymore. So I think of that. I think of, and another lady told me, misery is a choice. And I was like, oh my gosh, it is. So make up your mind. You want to be happy or you want to be miserable? Plain and simple. And so that really helped me a lot. Those two things helped me like you wouldn't believe, and not mixing up boredom with serenity, because when I thought I was bored is when I wanted to go do something to kill time. So, and having accountability now to my best friend and him having accountability to me, it's been the best thing for me. Addicts and alcoholics, they have to have accountability. Without it, you're just lost. There's no life. Yeah. Did you blame yourself when you got divorced and when Aaron passed? Were you blaming yourself for all of that? Sure, because Aaron asked me that night if he could drive my car, and I told him no. I said, go in Kevin's car because y'all put 1,200 miles in my car in the last 4 days, and I don't know where you've been. And yeah, of course, I thought, because Aaron was a pretty careful driver, I think, or I feel. And I say that because he used to tell me, get my purse, get my phone, put it on the side if I was driving, and he'd say, no radio, no phone, buckle up, I'm going to buckle up. And then he'd say, pay attention, we joke around about it. And then sometimes he would say, because he said I didn't drive very good, and I don't. He said I was the worst driver ever. He said, take all those things away from me and look out the window. He goes, I'm going to pretend somebody else is driving. So I go, gosh, because by the time we had to get on the HOV lane, that's just one lane. He's like, Mom, give me all that stuff. No, pay attention. Man, I remember when we used to watch, me and Aaron used to sit down. I think it was me, Aaron, and Erica, or Raquel. I can't remember. We used to always watch American Idol. We did not want to miss American Idol. Do you remember 3 or 4 years later, you watched that first show, that first one on DVD player? Yes, and he kept repeating it over and over again. I want to thank you for giving me time to breathe. Aaron used to always say that walking around the house. And then when I remember y'all were living in Memorial or something, and y'all would always go to sleep first, of course. And me, Aaron, and Steven would see who would go to sleep first. Mm-hmm. And whoever went to sleep first, we took a dirty diaper and put it in their face. And Aaron would always go to sleep first, and he used to get so ticked off, right? But then y'all would tell us to go take the trash out.
But what y'all did not know is me, Aaron, and Stephen was out there knocking on people's doors and running back.
Oh God.
And come back in the house like nothing has never happened. What are some of your most precious memories that you had with Aaron?
The first one that comes to mind is one day, he got thrown out of the house from his dad's house, and he thought he was coming with me, and we were all over there talking about it because he had done something really bad that day. And I said, if you can follow rules, you can come home, but if you can't, you have to go. So he left, and every weekend I would track him down at a friend's house, call him, and he would just hang up on me. And when he came back, he called me and he told me, I want to come home. And I said, you come home right now. So when he came home, he had a couple of friends that weren't living right. And he said, hey, Mom. He comes in with his friend Kevin, and he says, hey, Mom, Kevin needs to talk to you about something. So me and Kevin are talking, and he says, he just kind of walks off and he goes, talk to him, just talk to him. So Kevin had gotten caught smoking marijuana, and so I told him he needed to find some other things to do. And then the next day, or a couple of weeks later, he's telling his friend that was living with us, they were going to school together. He said, just follow the rules, dude. Trust me, it's not that hard. Just follow the rules. Life is so much better when you just follow the rules. Because his friend didn't want to go to school that day. And I thought, everything that we've invested in him is starting to blossom. Like, we didn't even know who he was when he came back home. That was right before his accident. He was so different. I mean, he was holding the door open for me. One day I preached at the youth center, and he put his arms around me. He goes, Mom, that was a really good sermon. I was like, okay, who is this? I go, quit joking around. He goes, Mom, I'm serious. And those are the things that I that are valuable to me, And then one time he came home, and after he had come home, we were sitting in my car, and it was late at night. We're in our driveway, and it was real dark outside, and we were talking about trying to live life right, and how hard it is. And I was telling him, it's even hard for me. But that moment was so amazing because I felt like, I don't know, I just felt a connection with him that I'll never be able to, I won't feel it again. I'm sure I won't. He's not here. But those are the valuable things, and some of the crazy things, like him calling the house phone and him sitting on the cell phone on the couch and hanging up every time I answer. And I pick it up again, hello, and nobody's answering. He hangs up. I go, somebody keeps hanging up. I'm not going to answer that. And then he says, no, Mom, you should answer it because it might be somebody important. Things like that. And then my mom is sitting in the corner giggling. And then, I don't know, just, things like that. He would say, I'm tired of your shenanigans, Mom. I'm so tired of your shenanigans.
Aaron actually Aaron, was he 17 or 18 years old?
He was 18. 18. He died in December at 4:00 in the morning on the 27th. And this is something I've never shared out loud. That was the only night that one of our boys was gone and that I slept all night. Both of us slept. My ex-husband and I slept all night. We never slept when they were gone. One of us would sleep with one eye open, and we'd hear their car drive up. And it was either Jay, my stepsons, or Aaron. And we slept all night. We didn't wake up till 9:00 in the morning. I firmly believe that if we would have woken up, we would have went to look for him, and we would have saw that accident. And I was thinking, after all the funerals over, and after everybody goes back to their normal life, but us, there was a siren going on all night. There's probably, I'm guessing, because their cars caught on fire, their vehicles were on fire.
Right.
I'm guessing that there probably were a slew of fire trucks, a slew of ambulances, a slew of police officers there, and we never heard a thing. I think that in a way now that I'm living somewhat normal, I can see, God, how did I not wake up? How did I not feel that? But I honestly think that the day that his car slid off the road and hit that telephone pole, I think he knew. I think he knew, God, my mom's gonna be so worried about me. I know he thought that. I really believe that. I really think he thought that. And yeah, I just think he did. And I was so mad one day, and I was like, what could be worse than this? What could be worse than this? And about I don't know, about 4 years later, I was flying out of state somewhere, and he was burned beyond recognition. There was a kid at the airport. He'd been burned beyond. I mean, there was no way you could tell what he looked like, and his face. I mean, he didn't even have any hair. His arms were. I mean, he was burnt. His body was all wrinkled up, and he looked very different than I'm sure he used to look. And I thought, okay, God, I hear you. I hear you loud and clear. I don't think that Aaron would have been a good candidate to be a burnt burnt individual survivor. I think he would have been angry. And so now I thank God that he went home, because I don't think then I would have had to look at him every day knowing that I was hopeless. I wouldn't have been able to help him. I wouldn't have been able to tell him, it's going to be okay, because would it have been okay? I think about that a lot too. That, yeah, I think about that a lot too. I actually, after he was gone about 3 or 4 years, I took a job as a photographer for Easter and Christmas at Memorial City Mall. And the kids that I used to see come in there that couldn't walk, and they were burnt or mentally challenged, or I'm thinking, God, their mom has to see them every day like that. I know my son's at home.
Yeah.
God, he's at home, and he's not feeling any pain at all.
Right.
I learned how to be grateful for that.
It's, sometimes it's easier to forgive other people than it is to forgive ourselves. Have you truly forgiven yourself just for everything? Have you truly forgiven yourself? Yeah, that's awesome.
I have. And if I hadn't, I'd be back out on the street doing God knows what. I have. I don't give the enemy any time in my brain at all when it comes to, you weren't a good mother when he was little. You weren't this, and you weren't that. When he was a baby, you were doing this. And I don't do that. I don't do it at all. Yeah. I don't give it 1 second. And I tell you what else is valuable in this experience that anybody could learn is that never romance your sin. Never romance your issues. Or like, I sometimes would go places, and I had to go through a couple of treatment centers that were kind of unethical. And anyway, like, there would be people in there laughing because they went out the house in the same clothes they've been wearing for a week. They urinated on themselves, and they didn't care, and they stunk, and they laugh at that. I won't do that, because I don't want to romance it, because then you get in a state of euphoria, and all you can remember is the fun times. I can remember some fun times if I let myself, that I had. It was fun at first, but I don't romance it for nothing. I think that's really valuable for somebody who's going through a hard time, that you feel so bad about, you did this and you did that. Don't laugh at it. Don't even give it a second. Don't even give it, there's no time for that.
Yeah. What would the person you are today, you are now,
Mm-hmm.
say to the person you were back then who numbed her pain with drugs and felt like she was just existing?
Oh, wow. I don't think there would have been anything I could say to myself. And I tell you why, because I wasn't ready to stop. You have
Mm,
to get to a place where you're ready. And it doesn't mean just changing that. It
yeah,
means changing everything. How I work, how I relate to people. But it all took time. I wish I could have been one of these. I used to wish that, oh, you meet people that lose their child and they go through it like so gracefully. They start a foundation and they're raising all this money and they're doing all these things. And I always wanted to do that, but I just was too weak and I didn't. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I would have said anything to myself, because now, when I run across people like that, somebody says,
hmm,
maybe somebody close to me might say, maybe you should say this, or maybe you should tell them your testimony. Maybe you should. No, because there's a time for that. And then I think God tells you if somebody's ready or not. And God will tell you this is something you should do. But, like, if they're not ready, they're just not ready.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
if they're not ready first to be accountable, they're not ready for not much else. You know what I mean? It's kind of like
yeah.
they're just not ready.
What I like the fact that I'm gonna have the what's your stories, with just real people with
Hmm.
real stories. And just because people need hope, people need encouragement.
Hmm.
And so we're all on social media. We're all on social media, but you never know what we're all going through. You never know what a person is going through.
Hmm.
What would you say to anyone struggling with drug addiction, or grieving, the loss of a loved one, or even divorce? What would you say to anybody going through that? What would be your
Um,
encouragement?
I think for me, um, I think people don't know what to say to people like that. They want to say something, but they don't know what to say because they've never dealt with it. I used to think nobody can help me. Who's going to help
Right.
me? Nobody knows what I feel. Nobody didn't lose their dad at Christmas and bury him on Christmas Eve like I did. Nobody lost their child, their only child, 2 years later and buried him New Year's Day. Who can help me? There's always somebody who can help you. There is.
Yeah.
And if you don't know anybody that can help you, then my advice would be, get on the computer. You go through Google for everything. You can go through Google for that. I went to Bo's place, and the funny thing is that's a grieving center, and that was Aaron's nickname at home, Bo.
Yeah.
And I went there, and it was an amazing place. And I didn't go there right after. It was like 8 years after he was gone that I went, and it really helped. It really, really helped. And then um, there was one counseling center in Houston that I went to, on my own, by myself, when I got
Hmm.
divorced, and it really helped. A lot of those things. That was probably the biggest lie I believed. Nobody's going to help me. Who's going to help me? Who knows what this feels like? Nobody knows, but there always is somebody that went through the same thing. There is.
Right.
We're not special. We're not special at
Well,
all. No, we're
that's
not.
why that's why I always say, like, share your story, man, because like your story is not for you. We go through this stuff, but your story is not for you.
Mhm.
I have no idea. And I know I'm about to get off topic, but I'm looking at my phone and like hearts and sad faces and stuff is popping up, but that is not even me doing this. So if anybody know like what's going on with Facebook or whatever, like I'm like right now, their heart's going up. That's not even me doing that. And I'm like, it makes me nervous because I'm like, did somebody hack my account? I don't know. So if y'all know, please help me. Send me a message and let me know what I can do to fix that. Because, I mean, you got sad faces, thumbs up, and hearts and all that stuff going up on here. And I have no idea why, because I have not clicked, not one. You see, the hearts and stuff are going up. Y'all see that? Anywho.
I don't see anything.
It's really annoying.
Yeah.
See, my sister said her phone is doing it too. It's crazy. It's annoying because, no, Erica, that's not people. It's my face is popping up at the same time. Like my face is popping up on those hearts and stuff. See, it's there you go again. Anywho, I'm not going to keep you long. That's people's reaction when she's talking. No, but Raquel, my face is popping up on those hearts. Like, why? I don't know. Okay, listen. I thought somebody was about to. I couldn't focus last week when I was on the phone with Jay because that was all that stuff was popping up, and I'm like, oh my God, somebody hacked my account. I'm like, and I literally couldn't focus. I started stuttering and stuff. I already don't do well with this kind of stuff. But Nana, I'm gonna be honest. I want to thank you because even though, like my What's Your Story, Jade was the first person last week that I had on a Tuesday. Mm-hmm. You're actually the first person on What's Your Story to literally share like real issues that you've dealt with. And that is what we need. And honestly, it's an adrenaline rush for me to sit here and chop it up with real people, with real stories, real life issues, and talk about how good like God is and how dope he is. See, I have to represent God is dope, God is dope cap, because he's dope because, man, your story is so inspiring. And I know we've talked throughout the years, but I'm not sure if I've ever told you thank you for everything you've done for me. I'm not sure, but I want to tell you thank you.
I'll tell my husband, shh. I'm sorry. You're so welcome.
I really want to tell you thank you. You guys, I always say this, and one day I'll be on my own with your story and share my story because had it not been for like you, Pops, the Millers, Miss Sharon Bowers, Carolyn Robinson, I'm telling you, I would literally, I don't know where I'd be because I was a hot mess. I was a hot mess, and even though in all my in all of that stuff I was in, you guys still loved me. Even when I didn't love myself, y'all still loved me. Y'all said some things that I didn't want to hear and kind of we bumped heads a lot.
Well, just to remind you, you used to say thank you all the time. And you know what? What I think? I think that it's great that you say thank you, and I appreciate it. I really do. But I think that when somebody does something nice for you or something that you think, I remember one time we took Nigel to the doctor and he said, nobody's ever done this for me. And I said, what I think is that God loves you so much. If I didn't do it, he would have sent someone else. That's the key. If I didn't do it and Mary and Steve didn't do it, and then somebody else would have done it, because that's how important you are. So remember, don't get boredom mixed up with serenity. Don't romance your crap. And make your life balance. It's got to balance. You leave stuff at work, you leave ministry at church, you come home and you be there for your family and be accountable.
Man,
that's
I truly love you, and I thank you.
Love you too.
And man, I think that we need to take more time with people that we love to even shoot out, even if it's just a text message to say, hey, thinking about you. Hey, love you. Hey, checking on you. I think that everybody who love somebody need to do that, because you never know what a person is going through behind closed doors. You just never know. And like, man, for crying out loud, check on your strong friends. People, check on your strong friends.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm excited to do this more often, because even if it touches one person, you've done what God has called you to do. Again, thank you so much. I don't know if you can see the comments on here. I've been trying to post them on here. Raquel said, I love you, Nana. Always
Oh, I
have.
love her too. I love all of y'all. But I have one thing I want to show you before I get off this phone
Uh-huh.
or off this interview. I want to show you this picture. I don't know if you can see it. Hold on. Can you see that? Look at your baby.
Oh, yeah.
That was our wedding day. Hold on.
Wow.
Let me see. I'm trying to get it to go in there, but I'm not.
No, I can see it. I remember that day.
You see it, but everybody else didn't get to see it.
Yeah, I see. I remember that day.
I forgot you were there.
Yeah, I remember that day, man.
See my baby. Now it's so funny because I have a dog named Shaba, thanks to Emily and Favor, and I have a dog named Suli, thanks to my mother-in-law because she can't say Sully. But anyway, this was a great time for me. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you letting me be on here.
Oh my gosh, listen, it was an honor to actually do this. I'm not even kidding. I cannot thank you enough. I really don't think that I told you thank you out of all those years that we've talked. And I'm saying this to you. I haven't seen you face to face in years, but I'm so happy I get to see your beautiful face. And for you to share your story, and even though that, we can't stay on here, we'll be all night to really share, go in deep, but you shared what needed to be shared. Yeah. And man, thank you again.
Well, we all have to, all women have to, I'm all about women empowering women. I'm all about that. Okay.
Yeah.
Love y'all.
Well, hey guys, thank you for tuning in. Y'all know I have for those who don't know, I have my Let's Talk Racism this Thursday. And that's a panel where we talk about racism in America. And I'm going to be doing this stuff more often, y'all. Seriously, like I'm stepping out of my comfort zone too, because people who know me know that this here is uncomfortable for me. I'm nervous every time I get ready to go live. And when y'all hear me going, this, that, and I get to stuttering, like I'm like freaking out all on the inside, right? But I didn't even pray before we started. So I'm going to ask if you can pray before we end this.
What was that? You want me to pray?
Yeah, to end. Yeah.
Okay. Father, we just bow our heads. Father, I just want to thank you for this evening, Lord. You are such an amazing God. You're a God of recovery, a God of healing. You're the supernatural God who's everywhere and knows everything. And for you, we're